Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make are mini applesauce cupcakes. And they are very mini, as you can see. These are the little liners that I use for them. Now, in this recipe, if you don't want to use this recipe for the mini cupcakes, it will yield 18 regular size cupcake liners, okay? But I find these so cute to make, especially around the holidays or for a party or a special occasion or something, because some people, you know, might just want to have one or even two rather than to eat a whole cupcake. So they're fun to make, like I said, for special occasions and birthday parties and whatever. So let's get started. We're going to take 1.5 cups of brown sugar, and I'm using my stand-up mixer. You can certainly use a hand mixer for this. I'm going to break up the sugar. All right, we're also going to be putting in 1/2 cup of solid shortening. And we're going to cream the shortening with the brown sugar, and that shouldn't take very long at all. Now, once you do that, then you're going to put 1 egg that's been at room temperature. And again, just wait till it's nice and smooth. We're going to be putting in applesauce, of course. I am using unsweetened applesauce, but if you prefer to use the regular that has that has sugar in it, you know, feel free, but I like to use the unsweetened. And just put that all into your mixing bowl. That was 1 cup. And again, just blend till it's all nicely mixed and blended well. All right, we're going to go in a little bit different order than we're used to, because we're going to start putting in, of course, the dry ingredients, but we're going to be putting in baking soda, and that's going to be 1 teaspoon. We're also going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, for spices, you're going to be putting in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and you're also going to be putting in 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. Now, if you don't like cloves, then leave it out, and what I would suggest to do is to put 1.5 total teaspoons of cinnamon if you don't want to use the cloves. Raise my speed a little bit. And now I'm just going to clean the sides, try to get to the bottom here where it tends to stick with my mixer. Okay. Beat it on low or low to medium. You don't want to overbeat it, because I really think it kind of toughens up the cake. It makes it dense, so I try not to over mix it or overbeat it. And the last ingredient you're going to be using is 2 cups of cake flour, okay? And we're going to put a little bit in at a time of the cake flour, just till it's combined and smooth. just want to see if everything is been mixed. I'm just going to put it on for just a couple more seconds. All right, now take the paddle out, take off my excess here. And I'll set that up on the side. And now I'm just going to make sure to bring it all together, get to the bottom, and then I'd like to show you the batter. Okay? It really smells nice with the cloves and the cinnamon and the apple, especially when it bakes up. The whole kitchen smells so good. All right. I'm going to just push that aside. All right, I'm using a small scoop, but certainly I'm not going to use all of the batter that comes out of the scoop. It's really about a half a scoop that I put in the liners. If you don't want to use a small scoop, then go ahead and use a teaspoon. And it's usually, if it's a teaspoon, you're using, that's about how much you really need. If you want to put just a tiny bit more, feel free if you're going to use a teaspoon. If you use your scoop, which I tend to do because I think it's actually faster, I just kind of eyeball the half of the scoop. And I put it down like that. Now you don't want to fill them, of course, to the top because they're gonna run over, and you don't want that. So you know, it's a little less than half when I fill it. Okay. Now, what you also want to do is, of course, you need the little pan. Is very helpful if you have that. That's the larger one, and then if you notice I have even the smaller ones because this is going to render quite a few little mini cupcakes. In fact, I get 75 out of this recipe. Just as a reminder, if you're going to make regular cupcakes, you get 18 out of the recipe, but 75, so I really have to use all my little trays because, you know, it's faster to bake that way. Now, you're going to bake these minis at 375, and they usually take me, I would say about 7 to 8 minutes, depending on your oven. Maybe you might go as far as 9, something like that in minutes, but you don't want to over bake these minis because then the cake will become very dry. And what's nice about this particular recipe is that the cake is so moist and so light, and so you don't want to over bake them and dry them out. So do watch them closely. When they do come out on the oven, though, you're going to have to wait a few minutes because they're very hot to handle to pull them out. Once you can, though, then put them on a cooling tray. Now, these particular little minis are great tasting even without frosting. I want to rinse my hands quickly here because I want to show you what these minis bake up. And this is how they will look once that they bake up. You can see that they're not extremely high because I don't like to overfill them. And then I'm just going to pull back the little liner there, okay? And I don't know whether or not you're going to be able to see, but these are extremely moist and very light. It really is a great tasting little cupcake, okay? Now, what I generally do, though, is that I go ahead and I frost them. And in fact, I want to show you what they look like And this is what I do. After I frost them, I put them on a large tray and I put them in the refrigerator just to set them up a little bit before I serve them. Or I do that and then I cover them very well and then I freeze them and use them. I try to use them within a couple weeks, but you have to wrap them extremely well with a lot of plastic wrap and a plastic bag or whatever you have so that they don't dry out in the freezer. Okay. And then what I did was I just took one of my chocolate frosting recipes. In fact, this particular one is the chocolate syrup frosting that I think really goes well with these applesauce mini cupcakes. And then I just use one of my Russian tips. In fact, let me show you what they look like. And then I just put my frosting into one of my Russian tips and bring out just the topping, the frosting for the tops of them. Okay, you don't have to use a bag and a tip. You can certainly apply your frosting with a knife, that kind of thing.